Hey guys, this is OCP Communications, and welcome to my review of The Video Dead. The Video Dead is a 1987 horror movie. There's also a little bit of comedy here, but I would say it's a little bit... You could say it's a horror comedy, but I'd say most of the jokes are really not that funny, and the only ones that are funny are the ones that I think were unintentionally so, or were supposed to be. I don't know. I mean, there's some really, really ridiculous lines of dialogue in this movie that I have to admit I got a laugh out of. Um, and the film is actually written and directed and produced by Robert Scott. Now, Robert Scott, I'm just checking to see if he's really done anything else. Because, to be honest, he did a pretty good job with a very low budget. The film was made on a budget of about $80,000, which isn't very much. Honestly, Evil Dead was made with a bigger budget. It was made on a budget of $375,000. So this was a cheaper movie than the Evil Dead was, the original Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. Robert Scott, it seems like he only directed one more movie in 1990 called Rat Dog, which I don't even think it's even available anywhere. There's no rating for it on IMDb, mainly probably because it's called Rat Dog. So he pretty much didn't do much in terms of directing again. The Video Dead is his only directorial credit. Video Dead is also the only film that he wrote, and it's also the only film that he produced. He would go on to become an second unit director or assistant director for a few TV shows in the future. Like he was a trainee for Solar Crisis. He was a second assistant director for Deep Cover. He was the third assistant director for Fatal Instinct. He was the second assistant director for Dracula Dead and Loving It. He was the first assistant director for a few episodes of Jag, as well as Justice. He was the first assistant director for 9 episodes of Heroes. He was the first assistant director for 30 episodes of House MD. And he was the first assistant director for Banshee, a TV series I've never heard of. And then Crossbones. This is a new show he's doing, a new show that he's working on. He's the first assistant director for, and he's still working, so he's still got a lot of work. Crossbones, a new show. I guess it's set during the golden age of piracy in the 1700s, and it stars John Malkovich, and he's the first assistant director on that film. So, seems like his career is, he's come a long way since The Video Dead, but he hasn't directed a feature film since. The film stars Michael St. Michaels as Henry Jordan. You have Thaddeus Golas as Delivery Man number 1, Douglas Bell as Delivery Man number 2, Al Milan as a taxi driver / the Undead Ironhead, Roxanna Augesen as Zoe Blair, Lori Ringuet as the Mover, and she played a mover and also played an undead he played a mover and also an undead half creeper. George Kernan plays mover number 2. Rocky Duvall plays Jeff Blair. David McCelland plays Joshua Daniels. Jennifer Miro plays the woman, and Vickie Bastel plays April. And you have Libby Russell plays Maria, Garrett Dressler plays Mr. Ellison, Melissa Martin plays a B-movie housewife, and Cliff Watts plays the Garbage Man. Now, the film has music by Leonard Marcel, as well as a couple other people who helped him with the score. The music, in my opinion, is a highlight for the film. I really like the bits and pieces of the score that have the electric guitar in them. And the movie was it was a direct-to-video movie. It never came out in theaters. And it earned a cult following, I guess, over the years. This is a movie that I remember mainly because of the cover art. The bitchin' awesome VHS cover art that is really, really cool. And I'd probably say is a little bit better than the movie itself. The first time around I saw this, I was let down by it because I made the mistake of judging a movie by a VHS by its cover. You never do that. Don't judge a VHS by its cover, because there's a lot of movies out there on VHS that have spectacular cover art. They're pieces of shit. I wouldn't call Video Dead a total piece of shit, though. I would say that I thought it was an alright flick the second time around, because I had no expectations this time around, so I was expecting the worst, and I was surprised by what I got. I got a decently entertaining zombie flick with a cool idea and a cool premise. I got some chuckles out of it. There's some pretty decent makeup effects for an $80,000 budget, and as well as visual effects. And but at the end of the day, I really would say it's just there. It's just an okay, all right time waster for me. I thought TerrorVision was a better film. TerrorVision was it was in on the joke the entire time. The acting was intentionally bad. Here, the acting is just bad. It's just really awful. Uh, and um, and some of the lines of dialogue are just one of those lines that make you scratch your head. But then you laugh. But then I think a lot of the things that made me laugh in this movie, if I watched it again, probably wouldn't make me laugh this time around, the third time around, or whatever. I definitely think it's a movie that could definitely be updated. You could have a bigger budget, so there's more zombies, more action, a little bit more going on. There's some really stupid moments in the film, which I'll get to, that really hurt the film for me, as well as an ending that I think that I personally thought the movie didn't earn. And so I'll definitely get to those soon enough. Now, the movie itself actually has some interesting little bits of trivia. Um, Actor Jack Stellman would get so into his zombie role in the film that he wouldn't talk to his other cast members. He would instead glare at them from across the room or grunt when they spoke to him. All of the zombies in the film had to audition for their roles by grunting and growling and performing their best zombie walk, which were then incorporated into the finished film. Mr. Stellman came into his audition completely silent and in character, staring at the director with his glare, and only delivering inaudible noises when asked questions. He was cast on the spot. He plays, trying to figure out which zombie he plays, because I'm looking on the Wikipedia cast list, and they're not really, just hold on, I'm just making Jack Stellman. Huh. Oh, Jack, the Undead. Okay, he plays a character. Is he the one that... he might be the main zombie? I don't know for sure. But during filming, Jack Stellman, who portrayed the Undead Jack, fell ill, and the role was then filled by actor Michael St. Michaels, who finished the film as a zombie. You can see a noticeable difference in Jack's appearance from the beginning of the film compared to the end. The filming for the film took over a year, since it was shot mostly on weekends and during the cast and crew's free time due to the low budget. While filming the infamous coming out of the television scene, which actually is really well shot, I thought, for such a low budget, actor Jack Stellman nearly fainted from breathing in the CO2 used to create the fog effect that had to be taken outside for air. And he had to be taken outside for air because he almost fainted. Yeah, he plays the main zombie. Pretty much the main zombie of the film is this zombie that wears a business suit and has this sort of, you can see his teeth. So it's got part skull showing, and then, rest of it's, flesh hanging off his face and so forth. Kind of looks like kind of a low-budget dark man. After the film was finished, the distributor thought it wasn't gory enough for a zombie film and gave the production team additional funds to go back and shoot some gory bits that they could edit into the film. Originally, when the half-creeper sawed in half, his legs were supposed to get up and run off, an effect later utilized in Return of the Living Dead Part 2. The effect wasn't pulled out to the satisfactory of the director, so it was cut from the final film when the additional gore shots were done. The film was actually also originally meant to have about 14 zombies spew from the cursed television set, all of which were developed characters that had written backgrounds that only the actors portraying them would know. Due to budget constraints and the demand of having grotesque zombies with full latex appliance pieces, the number of zombies was dwindled down to the main 5, but a 6th was added later in production when more money was given. Young actor Rocky Duvall was only 16 making the film and was still in high school. He was actually told by his drama teacher that he wasn't right for the role before bringing him and several of his classmates to the casting call. His teacher, needless to say, was shocked when he landed the part. I am too, because the kid is one step above being better than the kid from Troll 2. You know, the kid who's like, oh my god! He's like one step above that, which means he's not as shitty as an actor as that kid, but he's still not good. He's still nowhere near close to being a good actor. And I guess a sequel to the film was actually written for the film, but it never materialized. It was to do with the victim instead being pulled into the television set rather than the zombies coming out, having to find a way out before the film ended. That's really cool. That's actually kind of what I thought the movie was going to end up becoming more of when you get introduced to the character of the Garbage Man. But that's really not what happened, and I would actually be interested in seeing that sort of idea. It reminded me of the really cool stuff that I really liked in Waxwork, and the sequel Waxwork 2. But director Robert Scott wanted a lot more zombie action and far more zombies than in his original film, but he was offered the same budget as the first to make the sequel, but he declined, and a sequel was yet to come to fruition. In the original draft of the script, the origin of the woman was explained by the Garbage Man and Joshua Daniels, but was later removed in subsequent drafts due to the director/writer realizing there was no need to explain her character. She was just another illusion of the cursed TV. So that's a little bit of the trivia for the film. And basically what happens is the movie opens up with the writer. Actually, the opening credits, I like the way that the titles come up on the screen, and I really like the score, the opening titles for this film. And after the opening titles, then you get introduced to this writer who finds that a television has been delivered to his house without him ever ordering one. He accepts the television anyway because there's no COD charge. So the writer then discovers that the only program the television is capable of picking up is a seemingly endless, plotless, black and white zombie movie called Zombie Blood Nightmare. Despite unplugging the television set, it nonetheless reactivates and begins spawning the zombies from the movie who attack and kill the writer. And it's pretty much an aftermath shot. You don't actually see the zombies kill him, and it's tongue in cheek because the writer's like, I don't even like television. Who would send me a television? And then he goes in, and of course the TV keeps turning on by itself, on and off by itself while he's trying to write. So he unplugs it, and then the zombies get him during the night. And then the delivery guys come back, and they realize that the package was not meant to go to him; it's meant to go to some University of the Occult or some shit, occult studies. And they open the door and they find the writer dead. For some reason, he's wearing a party hat, and I'm like, what? Why? Did the zombies put a party hat on his head and then killed him? I don't understand this. What is the point? It's like, welcome to your death party. Like, I don't understand. Happy Death Day. I really don't understand that. What was the point of the party hat? I don't. Whatever. Anyway, so then 3 months later, the teenagers Zoe and Jeff then arrive at the house ahead of their parents, who are moving back to the United States after years abroad in Saudi Arabia. I almost thought they were going to say Abu Dhabi. You know, it's it's that goofy. Anyway, it's that random of this destination that the parents were arriving from. So Jeff then quickly befriends this dog walker named April and accompanies her home, where the dog she's watching escapes in the woods behind their neighborhood. Well, it's because she let it off its leash because she was all like, my arm is tired. Let it off the leash. And it's, I mean, the acting by both she's terrible. I mean, really, really bad actress. She's nice to look at, but her acting is just really bad. Vickie Bastel, and then Rocky Duvall, who plays Jeff, is not very good either. Like I said, he's like one step above the kid from Troll 2, which isn't saying much. So you have the whole sort of thing where, for some reason, this kid Jeff, played by Rocky Duvall. Was it Rocky Duvall? Yeah, Rocky Duvall. Jeff Blair. So the character Jeff, he pretty much, I don't know, he's kind of a nerd, I guess. is kind of a loser. I mean, that's the kind of thing. I mean, as the film went on, I kind of got a little bit, he was a little bit endearing to me. But at the start of it, I just thought he was kind of just a loser. He's a pathetic loser. I'm like, why is he the lead? And so anyway, he wears the same shirt and the same pants, and there was like a dumb scene earlier where it tried to trick you into thinking that it was a zombie that was going to attack his sister, but really it's him. For some reason, he's wearing filthy ass jeans and filthy in a white T-shirt that looks like he took it from a homeless person, and you know, you're like, okay, all right. And he still is wearing this shirt almost throughout the entire movie until finally it gets covered in blood. I'm like, yeah, you need to wash that shit. You need to wash that shirt. It's got pit stains. It's got fucking holes in it. And I can't believe that you could even remotely get a woman wearing a shirt like that. Anyway, and then there's even a scene where he tries to smoke pot, and then the TV turns on, and you know, and of course afterwards he's all like, "I'm not smoking this stuff anymore." But anyway, I also want to know, how did he afford pot? How did this kid afford pot? He can't even. It looks like he only has one pair of clothes. He only has one T-shirt and some jeans and some shoes and the same ratty ass pair of boxers to his name. How did this kid afford to buy pot? Anyway, so they go look for the dog Chocolate. Yeah, the dog's name is Chocolate, and the dog actually got eaten by a zombie. For some reason, the zombies that came out of the TV in a really cool scene early in the film and killed the writer, they decided to make their home in the woods back behind the house. And the zombie, I guess, wanted some chocolate. He wanted to, you know, satisfy his hunger, so he decided to get some chocolate. And he got his chocolate, and so the kid, and so Jeff and April are looking for the dog, and I swear to God, they say the name Chocolate like 50 times in like the matter of like 2 minutes. Here's a drinking game for you folks, the video dead. And whenever somebody yells Chocolate, take a shot. Trust me, you will be dead. You will not, your body will not be able to take as much alcohol as you will be pouring into it if you do the chocolate drinking game in the video dead. Because they say it like 50, it seems like 50 times. You're going to be taking like 20, definitely over a dozen shots, just one after another. You know, if you survive, good for you. But I mean, that would definitely, definitely a quick way to get plastered, to do the chocolate drinking game in the video dead. But anyway, speaking of chocolate, there's just a totally random line that April says that you can't help but laugh at this line where she's all like, you know, Jeff's like, hey, it might be okay. She just went out in the woods, you know, she didn't go far. And April's like, you don't understand. He likes to chase skunks in the woods. And if he finds them, he tries to mate with them. Only skunks don't like to mate with poodles. And then they spray him, and then he really gets turned on. I'm just like, what the fuck? He likes to mate with skunks. You're like, what? Dog likes to fuck skunks? What the fuck is this? And of course they go in and find the dog is dead. And then Jeff comes up with an idea and says, well, I'll shove a ball in its throat and it'll look like some guy threw a ball out for the dog to catch, and the dog choked on it. And trying to find an excuse for the dog owners to believe April. And of course, it ends up working. She says, I owe you one. He asks her to come over. She's like, no, I can't. So then he decides to smoke some pot, smoke a joint, and watch this TV that he found in the attic. Because actually the TV literally started talking to him like, come on, Jeff, come up in the attic. Come up to the attic, Jeff. I got something to tell you. Anyway, and earlier in the film, this character named Joshua Daniels, who was played by the actor Sam David McCelland, who I didn't mind his performance. I thought he was all right. And so he's like a cowboy, Southern guy. He's got a nice Southern charm to his character. And so Mr. Daniels showed up earlier to warn him about the TV. He thought he was full of it. So does the sister. But now he's sitting in his bed trying to smoke a joint, and then the TV turns on, and you have this hot, not really hot. I mean, she's there, blonde, who is talking to him. She's wearing a lot of heavy makeup to the point it makes her look like a drag queen. And she's like, it's a sweet transvestite from Transylvania. Anyway, so she looks like a sweet transvestite who, there's a come hither motion to him. And she actually gets out of the TV and starts, making out with him. Then she disappears, goes back on the TV, and Jeff's like, hey, what's going on? Come back. I thought you was like, ha, 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 ha. Then she starts laughing at his ass. And then out of nowhere, this guy comes in and slits her throat. And it's this Cliff Watts character, who's the garbage man, who just comes in and starts randomly talking to Jeff. He just comes in and he's all like, you don't know what you're messing with. Why in the hell don't you leave it alone? And Jeff's like, who was she? They look just like you and I, but inside, they're different. They're different. They have no soul. And Jeff's like, who are you? They call me the garbage man. I dispose of human garbage. And Jeff's all like, why are you telling me all this? The garbage man is like, because you're in danger. There's been a little accident, an escape. They're very real and very dangerous, Jeff. Be careful. And Jeff's like, no, wait. What do I do? The garbage man, take the TV, lock it in the basement, and do one more thing. Get a mirror and put the shiny side next to the screen. A mirror. So anyway, so he decides like, okay, I'll go get a fucking mirror. So he goes down, he gets a mirror off the hallway, out of the hallway, goes down the basement, tries to tape the mirror to the TV. All the while, the TV's smoking, with the fog machines working, and the zombies are starting to come out. And a zombie hand grabs him and tries to stop him from taping the mirror to the TV. And it's like really cheap ass tape that he uses too. Like it's the type of tape where he tries to pull a strip off and it rips in half before he has the opportunity to actually get a good long strip. And so that's able to, keep the fucking mirror on the TV. And then he goes in and he goes back to sleep, wakes up, dumps his pot in the toilet, flushes it down. He's like, I'm not taking any more of that shit. And then you pretty much, then you cut to random scenes of the zombies just they break into April's house. They kill her maid, who for some reason was sleeping with April's dad, and the maid gets this pretty lazy kill. They kill them. They just put the maid into a washing machine, turn it on. It's really not much of anything. And then earlier, because actually before they tried to kill the maid, and it did take way too long to kill the goddamn maid, because actually after the washing machine is after the fact. Before they even put the maid in the washing machine, you have a really long, drawn out scene where this zombies are trying to strangle her, and it's taking what seems like forever and a day to strangle her ass. I'm like, it looks like he's literally choking her for like 5 minutes. I'm like, she should be dead already. What is up with this shit? And she takes an iron and bashes it in the zombie's head, which I guess these aren't typical zombies because a brain injury doesn't kill it. So then she finally dies after she somehow hadn't survived enough after having direct pressure on her neck for what seemed like 5 minutes. She was able to take an iron and smash it into the zombie's head. But it didn't mean anything because the zombies then put her ass in a fucking washing machine. And then the zombies are just hanging out, and they're hanging out. One zombie's like pouring a bowl of cereal, like some Frosted Flakes. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, they're great! And so they're just pouring Frosted Flakes and trying to eat cereal. Another one's clicking on a blender and turning it on. That's what wakes up the maid, and she ends up getting killed. Then the zombies go up in the bedroom and kill the kill the dad, but you don't see it. All you hear is the guy scream. Then the zombies then continue killing random people. This one guy is talking about his wife. It's like, yeah, this is why honey, why won't you let me wear the pants in this relationship? Come on, just once. And he's reading the newspaper, and the zombies grab his ass, and the woman zombie turns his head around in a really cheap effect. Then you have some housewife who's cooking some coconut chocolate delight thing, coconut fudge delights, and then she's following the recipe on the radio, and she misses the coconut part, and then the zombies come in and kill her in a really lame way, and then, you know, really there's not a lot of memorable kills at all. The one that I can honestly say I kind of remember is the one with the washing machine. That's about it. So it's not much in terms of kills. So, but anyway, then it cuts back to Jeff and realizes April is, you know, here's the sirens who are going down close to her house. He runs back to her house, and, you know, she was, my parents are dead. And it was like, oh, great. So now Jeff's trying to be there for April, so he goes in and, you know, gives her a place to stay at his house. Mr., you know, the cowboy guy, Joshua Daniels, Mr. Daniels comes in and is telling them what's going on. You need to listen to me. And his sister Zoe thinks he's insane. But, you know, I don't mind this scene where he's talking about why, you know, Jeff asked Joshua, why do we need to use mirrors? And Jeff's like, but why mirrors? And Mr. Daniels is like, the reason for the mirrors is simple. The dead can't stand to look at themselves. Same goes for when a living person comes up against one of them. And when a living person shows fear, it all comes home again. That they're different. It's like when the living person shows fear, it all comes home again that they're different. All they want to do is kill the only thing they could never be, the living. And Jeff's like, well, what if the person could keep from showing fear? Wouldn't he be safe? Keep from showing fear? Only two ways of doing them in, at least as far as I know. First is to trap them in a place from which there is absolutely no escape. Then they'll go crazy, eat themselves. And just like in the other way is much more simple. Since they think they're alive, by attacking them, you would like you would living, with guns, knives, anything. For a time, they can actually be convinced that they're dead. To make that death final, however, they must not be buried, and left instead to be reclaimed by Mother Nature. And of course, Zoe's like, when will will this all be over? Will they really be dead? And Mr. Daniels was like, then they'll be where they belong, in death. So anyway, what happens is one of the zombies, who looks like he has a flock of seagulls hairdo, ends up going in and takes April away. And then they decide, Jeff and Mr. Daniels decide they're going to team up and go out in the woods and stop these zombies. And do that thing where they make them think they're dead, I guess. And all it is pretty much to go into the woods, have some fun lines of dialogue, like where Jeff is talking about, you know, he gets a zombie with they start shooting the zombies with arrows, like from like the archery range. And he shoots a zombie with an arrow. Zombie falls down, thinks it's dead. And then Mr. Daniels is like, give me my pack. And then he pulls out a chainsaw. And then Jeff's like, oh, wow, a chainsaw. I was like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my all-time favorite horror movie. I've seen it like 6 times. And it's like, so? It's like, hey, I got him. I shot him. I get to use a chainsaw. So the kid, Jeff, uses the chainsaw and cuts the zombie in half, which is a decent effect. And then there's this really dumb plan that Mr. Daniels has to get the rest of the zombies. And before they set up this plan, though, there's another fun line, a little bit of banter, where Mr. Daniels just keeps calling Jeff boy. He doesn't like it. Actually, he sneaks up on him one time. He sneaks up on him and scares him, and he's like, "Don't you ever sneak up on me again." Wow, like what? What will happen? Death and destruction. And and then afterwards he's tired of being called boy, so he's like, "Stop calling me boy. Why, boy?" He's like, "Well, if you're gonna call me boy, then I'm gonna call you cow shit." Hey, that's not funny. Hey, yeah, cow shit. Let's go. It's like, hey, let's speak to each other by a normal name, by proper names. I'm Mr. Daniels, and I'm okay, and I'm Jeff. Okay, Jeff, let's go. And so then you have the whole thing where Mr. Daniels comes with this crazy plan. He's going to use Jeff as bait, hangs his ass on a tree, and he goes in and he's supposed to hide in the shed. And he finds that April is dead in there, but he doesn't tell Jeff about it because he's a dick. And then he hides in the shed, and then, of course, he falls asleep like a fucking dumbass. And then the zombies come and they try to attack Jeff, and Jeff has the chainsaw because he made sure he had something to protect himself. And he's swinging around trying to go after these zombies. And he's calling for Mr. Daniels, like, "Mr. Daniels!" And he's like, "Mr. Daniels!" And he's not waking up. So you might as well just be yelling, "Mr. Bojangles, please! Please help me!" And so anyway, he finally wakes up and starts shooting the zombies with arrows. And then he leaves the one zombie that somehow ended up, the woman zombie who picked up the chainsaw that Jeff dropped. He just uses a rearview mirror and makes her run away. And then I'm like, you're a fucking dumbass. You have a shotgun. You should have just blown her head off or something. That's not what happened. And of course what happens, the woman zombie shows up later with an arrow that she pulled out of herself and stabs Mr. Daniels to death. Then she chases after Jeff, who gets his foot caught in the bear trap that he set for one of the zombies. Then he limps his ass to the shed, finds out that April is dead, takes a machete, ends up decapitating the zombie woman, but then she ends up taking the chainsaw and killing his ass. Like, great. Just when I'm starting to kind of warm up to this character, you kill him off. In a really stupid way that should have never fucking happened that way. Because if Mr. Daniels was, I don't know, somewhat intelligent, he wouldn't be a moron and fucking decide that, yeah, I'll just let the one zombie, I'll let a zombie go. I'll let a zombie go. You know. Yeah, it'd be a better runoff, or you end up like the rest of them. Like, why isn't she like the rest of them? You should have fucking done it. And it's also a stupid plan. We're going to shoot zombies to make them think that they're dead. And of course what happens is they get back up after, you know, Jeff is dead. And then they go in and go to the house and start terrorizing Zoe, who then decides that, and of course she takes forever to decide to fight back. She, you know, sits there crying and cowering in a corner like, and then finally she decides to grab some knives, and then she drops the knife on the ground and she continues to cry, "Go away! Go away! Leave me alone!" Of course, the zombies aren't going to do that. So then one zombie breaks through the window, and eventually the zombies end up in the house, and she remembers the whole thing that Jeff said, that, oh, you know, try not to be afraid. So she starts acting like, you know, everything's funny. She starts acting like she's on drugs or something in front of these zombies. She's like, "Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat." And then she's pouring them, just serving the zombies food. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then she's like, "This is an old family recipe." And then one of the zombies is like, "Whoa!" Like, the cup has nothing to drink, and it's like, "Oh, you need something to drink? Okay." And then the stray cats slash, you know, a flock of seagulls hairdo zombie shows up and tries. It looks like he's gonna put the moves on her, like, you know, give her a kiss. And of course, she doesn't want anything to do with that. Excuse me. Fuck. I don't know why I just fucking sneezing, and I hate that. Anyway, fuck. So we're gonna try to keep back on track after I sneezed my brains out. Anyway, so it looks like the zombies, you know, the flock of seagulls hairdo, a stray cat zombie. It looks like it's going to you know, kiss her, and he sees the mirror, freaks out. She puts something over it, and then she's in the corner, and she's like, and then she realizes that, oh, we need to lock them in a place where they can't escape. So she decides to come with this plan to lock the zombies in the basement. So she tells, you know, the zombies are all looking at this book, and they find a picture of some old musical, and they're like, Dad, you know, like, it's like, oh, dancing, yeah, the best place. This isn't the best place for dancing, though. The best place for dancing is in the basement. So she leaves the zombies in the basement, tells them about a record player, you know, where they're set up a record. She says, I'll be right back. I gotta get the records. They're upstairs. And of course, then the zombies realize that, oh, that she's full of shit, because one of the zombies picks up a record in the basement. And she's like, ah! And then she ends up narrowly, you know, getting up the stairs, avoiding the zombies. She ends up closing the door that has a mirror on it. And one of the zombies' faces starts fucking up. And then the zombies start eating each other, which I thought was actually pretty different take on, you know, the climax and whatever. And then, you know, she escapes. You know, she survived. The zombies eat each other and then liquefy and then go back into the TV. And then you have on the screen it says the end. And then I'm thinking, okay, all right, the movie's over. I mean, that's a perfect way to end the movie. But no, you have to, you end it with some bullshit where now she's crazy. She's out of her mind in some fucking hospital, and her parents come to you know, visit her, and then they did this dumb thing where they, hey, we got something for you. We brought in the TV from the house. You know, I thought it might help. You know, I might help you a little bit, and brings in the fucking same TV that she locked in the basement. And then it starts up all over again, and the zombie on the TV screen looks at her, growls, and grunts at her. She screams, and end of credits, and end of movie, and I'm pissed. I hate endings like that, and I don't think the movie earned that type of ending either, because it was just a tongue-in-cheek, silly horror movie to begin with. It didn't earn that type of ending, and I hated that ending. I hate that ending, and that in itself lowered it down half a star for me. I don't like how stupid the fucking Mr. Daniels is with his stupid plan of, I'm just going to let one of the zombies go so it can kill my ass later and kill the kid. I don't like that. I think the plan that he had was dumb anyway. He had a shotgun. He never used it. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more than just shooting arrows into zombies. I mean, fucking light the arrows on fire. Throw some Molotov cocktails on their asses. Light them on fire. Burn them. Shoot them in the face with a shotgun. And have some shotgun action. Light them on fire. Do something. Blow them up. Whatever. You know, didn't choose to do that for some reason. With lame arrow shots. The Zoe at the end. The way that she got rid of the zombies is different. I'll give it that. Her acting was so bad. I'm surprised even a brain dead zombie didn't realize she was faking it. You know, with her whole like, I'm so happy. I'm not scared at all. And I'm happy happy you're here. And then of course a stupid ending, which I hated. But anyway, I really don't know what to say about the video Dead, except, you know, I thought at the end of the day it was okay. It was the epitome of just an alright movie. A decent zombie flick with a low-budget horror flick with a cool idea. Some nice shots, like the definitely really cool shot of the zombie coming out of the TV. And I honestly would have preferred if it was, I don't know, I just end at the end on the TV, not the bullshit, oh, she's crazy ending. And a little bit more action would have been nice. Maybe Jeff survived because I actually learned to actually like that character. So, you know, that was kind of a bummer. And, yeah, I'm definitely one of those guys that prefers a happy ending with a horror film, because for me, it just adds to the rewatchability factor of it. I like fun horror movies more than depressing ones, and this is kind of fun to watch, but then there's some dumb moments here and there, but then there's the moments where the ending, you know, it's just like the kid dies, and I kind of like. Then Zoe dies. Like, anybody that you might like dies in this movie. So it's like everybody dies, the end. And I don't really like that type of ending for a horror film. It's just not my cup of tea. But anyway, I really don't know what to say. It's definitely a movie that I think could be remade. It's a cool idea. You could have a bigger budget. Maybe do the idea that they have for the sequel. I really thought they could have done more with the Garbage Man character. He was in it. They have for one scene. And that's it. I thought he was going to come on the TV and help the kid. That's not what happened. I don't know why. But anyway, or the kid was going to get thrown in the TV and then had to fight the zombies inside the TV set. And for something called the Video Dead, it's really more the TV Dead. I think it would have been cool if they had to do, if there was something to do with a VCR or VHS, because that's what it is. It's called the Video Dead. Video is for videotape, not TV. But you know, that's nitpicking. I really enjoyed the score. Some of the lines of dialogue were pretty chuckle-worthy, and the effects were pretty good for a low budget. But all in all, I'd just say at the end of the day, it's just a time waster for me. But if I found it somewhere, I'd pick it up. I'd probably pick up the double feature Blu-ray by Scream Factory with TerrorVision and Video Dead someday down the road. But anyway, I really don't know what to say about the film, except it's rated out of 5 stars. I'll give it 3 out of 5. It's there, it's alright, it's enjoyable for what it is. I just thought it had some issues that I thought if they were corrected, I thought it would be a lot better. But anyway, I really don't know what to say about the movie, except thanks for watching my review, and I will see you guys later. See ya.